Mark 1.5 centimetres from the end of the waistband with the pin. Then mark 5 centimetres from the other end of the waistband with another pin. This end's a bit longer just to create a button wrap. The pins will match up at either side of the zip when we sew the waistband to the skirt. Fold the waistband and match the pins to find a central point and mark with a third pin. This pin will match up with the skirt side seam. Place the waistband right sides together against the skirt with the pins along the waist edge of the skirt. Match the end pin with the zip opening. Now match the central pin with the side seam on the skirt. Now match the last pin with the zip on the opposite side. There should be 5 centimetres hanging past the pin. This creates the button wrap that we're going to need later on. With the wrong side of the skirt now facing you, grasp the 2 gathering threads and gently pull on them. As you pull, push the skirt fabric along the threads and continue until the skirt is gathered. Keep pulling on those threads and keep gathering until the skirt ends up the same length as the waistband. Continue until each section of the skirt is gathered to the length of the corresponding waistband. When it is, wrap the threads around a pin in a figure 8 to lock them in and stop the gathering from sliding off the end. Now slide the gathers along and adjust them until the little folds are spread fairly evenly across the whole skirt. It's worth taking your time, just relaxing, keep spreading them until you think visually it looks fairly even. When it looks even, pin the skirt and the waistband edges together, making sure they're in line with each other and placing a lot of pins quite close together along the whole waistband. Now you're going to sew the seam with a 1.5 centimetre seam allowance, and you'll be stitching pretty much right through the centre of your gathering stitches. Make sure you do a back stitch at either end and be really careful not to hit the zip stop at the top of the zip. You can sew right up to the pins before you pull them out. As you can see, I'm occasionally sewing over the pins very, very carefully. It's important that you make sure the two raw edges, the top of the skirt and the waistband, are right on top of each other, right up until the end, and do a back stitch when you finally get to the zip at the other end. Make sure you don't sew over that little metal zip stop or you'll break the needle. When you're finished, make sure you quality check your work and see if there's any little bits and pieces that might have got caught and don't seem to be looking quite right. Check the whole width of the skirt and make sure you haven't made any mistakes. Once you've checked it, turn it over to the wrong side and you can start pulling out your gathering threads, especially the bottom one. The bottom one's the one that tends to show from the outside. As you can see, it pulls out fairly easily if you pull it out from the wrong side of your skirt. Once you've removed the thread from the wrong side, there's nothing holding the other side of the thread on, so it comes off really easily. Now give the waistband seam a light press. We don't want you to iron over the gathers, so we really just want you to iron the seam. Let the skirt fall off the end of the ironing board and just smooth it with your hands so that you're ironing right into the seam and you're not ironing a little fold into your waistband.